Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Yo, what up, It's your boy Rabino.
And this DJ in the building.
And you listening to the UpNUp Podcast.
Yeah.
Wait, what are we doing?
I don't know, just listen.
Yes. Welcome.
What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuning to the UpNUp Podcast. I'm your host, Rabino.
And I'm DJ man.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good?
I'm cooking right now.
Got
good.
that like that Barry White voice. So. Just DJ
It's hella hot, man. I ain't gonna lie.
I know, man. It's hot summer here in Seattle. For those of you first-time listeners out there, I always want to give them a shout-out. Hence the name UpNUp. This platform is created to, share stories of amazing individuals, who are grinding, striving, going after what they want, their visions, their goals, their dreams. And, we want to create a platform to let them share their stories, right? Mm-hmm. Before we get to it, I want to also shout out all the, the supporters, the listeners, the viewers. Man, it means a lot, right? For sure.
Always, yeah.
Please, if you're tuned in, please always make sure to rate, subscribe, review. I love the reviews. People talk about how certain episodes affect them and impact them and educate them, So, yeah, man, go ahead and take care of that. Now, we always got a special guest, right?
Always.
Every episode, man. And we try to level up, we try to make sure we cross the board on everything. So today's guest, I would say, is a woman who's carving her own lane of success through fashion and culture. Mm-hmm. A true visionary who's always keeping everything she does on the up and up, right? Otherwise, like I said, she wouldn't be here today. Someone who's helping shed light on the importance of, proper representation for women within her culture, and just women in general, right? Mm-hmm. I would say so. And our guest is the owner of Raziaa clothing brand and a friend to the show. Our guest is none other than the ambitious and boss lady, Safiya Farah. Hey. Can we get a round of applause one time for our girl? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm feeling good, man.
Good.
Hot in here.
It's hot. It's a hot box. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So thank you for coming.
No
Thank you for being on the show. We appreciate it. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the show, but we usually start the show with the quote of the day. It's usually just, get our minds right, get the vibe right, set the mood. And, my guy over here, man with the quotes over here. So what you got for me, man?
All right, today, man, the quote for the day is, it's not the honor that you take with you, but the heritage you leave behind. Branch Rickey.
It's deep.
Can you say that one more time? I got to feel that one. That was real, though. That was real.
It's not the honor that you take with you, but the heritage that you leave behind.
Now, no, I like that. And you said that was by Branch
Rickey.
Okay. So the reason we bring in the quotes, obviously, is we try to tie it directly to our guests, their story, their journey and what it is they're contributing and providing. And so for you with Raziaa and the brand and the company and your story, before we kind of touch on everything you're currently doing, let's kind of take it back a little bit to kind of your early influences, kind of your upbringing. Like, where did you grow up? You grew up in Seattle?
Yeah,
correct?
South Seattle.
Okay. South Seattle's been like a trending thing on the show, Shout out South Seattle. But so how would you say growing up out here in the city kind of influenced that and what you're doing now?
It just kind of helped me just kind of figure out that it just gave me my initial hustle. Just always make sure, like, I didn't want to just see the rest of my life there. I kind of know, like, I wanted just to go above and beyond that one day and just, be able to kind of help my family and the people around me know that there's more to life rather than what, our surroundings are.
Yeah.
So
That's
was
real.
like a big influence.
No, that's real. That's real.
So
yeah, go ahead.
All right, so let's jump into the brand now.
That one.
So what would you what is Raziaa in the mission pretty much?
Okay, so it was, I don't know how to kind of explain this. This was just an idea that, like, me and my friend Oxy had came up with, literally just sitting in the balcony at my mom's house. And before I kind of like transitioned, before I didn't used to wear my headscarf, and then I started to wear my headscarf and kind of just get a good understanding of my religion and just being more in tune and just understanding the purpose of wearing hijab. And once I started wearing the hijab, I kind of just noticed like the inconvenience of like purchasing a hijab. Like the majority of the time there wasn't so many options, and you would have to just kind of go the traditional route and go to, you know, mom pop shops. And it just was like, hey, here's a box, go through it and grab whichever one you want. And you're just like, oh, this is just so, you know, and it's like first come, first serve basis. So we just kind of always talked about it. And then I majored in economics. So I just knew like there's a market there. Yeah. You know, I just was like, what? This is just like, it was just kind of like a light bulb for us. It was like, it just was like, hey,
but it hit home too, right? Because it was part of your culture too. So it was kind of like, culture, it's like a double bonus, you know? Yeah. It's like usually people try to fill a void because they're just trying to come up. But in this case, it was like, I'm not just trying to, you know, come up, but I'm also trying to bring up a culture with me, right?
Yeah, and it's like an everyday thing. So it's just like being able to provide people with a just variety was like a big deal for the both of us. Like, you know, there's days you just want to switch it up, wear something light, wear something flashy, wear something colorful, wear something, you know, just plain. And we just wanted to be able to, you know, give out that experience to everyone.
See, that's interesting because, like, I know growing up, you know, like, I feel like when it came to women wearing the hijab, it was like, it didn't have that many layers to it. It didn't seem like it can expand, you know what I mean? Nobody really looked at it as if it can be expressive, you know? And I think that's kind of what Raziaa is doing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Would you say so?
Yeah, like nowadays you can kind of see, like, if you're just following social media trends, you can just see, like, a lot of people are very vocal with what they wear. And people just tend to, like, leave out hijabis because everyone just has this notion of, like, you know, Muslim women are just quiet and not so outspoken.
Alternative facts, I think that's what they call it, right?
So but there definitely is a market. There's a lot of influencers and there's a lot of people that, like, are really, you know, give out a bold statement with their hijabs and what they wear, and we wanted to just be a part of that market and just be able to just be an influence to all. Okay
That's dope.
I mean, and so let's kind of take it from there. So you guys were on the balcony, right? Just scheming up, right? And now a lot of people can relate to this. We try to make sure our guests can leave our viewers and listeners with some gems, right? But everybody got ideas, right? Everybody's sitting there, whether you're on the balcony or you're in your car, you know, looking at the viewpoint, whatever it is, you know, something to get your mind right. But at what point were you like, okay, this is a dope idea, but then I'm ready to put in the work? And what was kind of like that first step that you took?
I think with not only our idea, but a lot of people, you kind of just get an epiphany, and it's like a light bulb. Like, it's just that drive. You're just like, wait, I have to, you know, like, you just kind of have to initiate the steps. And the more you do research, the more realistic it becomes. And you kind of just understand, like, the market that you're ready to enter, your competitors. And that was just like a really big deal. Like, it was like, the more we looked into it, the more we were like, okay, this person's doing it this way, this person's doing it this way, but we can do it our own way. And that was like the big drive to it, because you're just like, no one's doing it the way we're doing it, so that's what's going to make us stand out compared to these other, you know, other brands.
Important. You got to know your competition, right? Even if you don't really see it as competition because you feel confident in what you have, you still got to know what the environment's looking like around you. Yeah. That's dope. Okay. Now, I got a chance to kind of look at the web platform, the website for the brand, and there was an interesting thing that stuck out to me. There was this quote that I pulled from it. It said, "Raziaa is for the everyday Muslim woman." And can you kind of elaborate on what that means to you?
To me, it just means kind of just going back on what I said earlier. You know, the everyday Muslim woman. We just don't stick to one hijab style, you know. It can just change from, like, either it's too hot today, let me wear something lighter, or it's cold outside, I want to wear a nice, you know, bundled one, or I have an occasion to go to. I'm going to a graduation, so I want to wear, like, a chiffon, like something like really silky. So the everyday Muslim doesn't stick to one type of hijab at the end of the day. So we just want to be able to project that.
Okay, dope.
Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, like, what were some of, like, the struggles you went through, like, starting your own company?
I don't know. I think because our focus is e-commerce. We don't have like a storefront, but all of our majority of our marketing is done online. Okay. So you really like it was just. I don't know. That was like kind of a struggle, just keeping up with photo shoots, things like that, and it's like,
especially today's rapid.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
pace. It's
crazy. You're like, and then you look at other people like, how do they have time? Because like I work a regular job as well, so you know I'm just trying to like balance that with you know trying to, you know, just kind of just I don't know my schedule and then finding you know models, things like that. So it's just like really like coordinating is like it's really difficult, but it can get done. It's just the drive at the end of the day.
There we go. That's what I was looking for, because it is
being aggressive and being you know like, hey, I need to get this done at the end of the day. Giving yourself a you know deadline and making sure you get it done. That's like the most important thing at the end of the day. Because
the process is everything, you know, and that's something you're kind of speaking to right now is like the process of, okay, I got to coordinate my time. I do. You know, it's not a fairy tale where I can just jump into this venture and everything's going to work out overnight. So kind of getting from the obstacles, which you said, you know, you may have faced early on. What was that first moment where you were like, it was kind of defining to where you saw a result that you knew was possible, but when it came in, whether it was that first purchase, whether it was someone kind of, you know, showing off the hijab and you were like, oh, damn, I did that. That's me, right? Like, what was that defining moment for you? I
think the cool thing that we get to see is everyday people at the mall that we don't even know. Like, somewhere in public, you just see people wearing your logo and you're like, wow, they purchased from my website. Yeah. This is awesome. So that means I'm reaching out to people, definitely. Like, so everything we sat there and talked on the balcony worked. So that's like one of the big things for me, just seeing like, oh, okay.
That's dope.
So
yeah, I mean, when the idea goes from your head and and you see it manifest, and it's real, and it's like it's a powerful thing.
Definitely.
That's motivation right there.
Yeah, bro. Like if I see somebody with some UpNUp stuff or something that I don't know, I'd be like, damn. But it kind of like motivates you to keep going though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're like, damn, all right, I'm touching this person. I can touch way more now. You know.
Yeah. So, no, and definitely dope. One of the big things also that like kind of just keeps me pushing is a lot of people just saying, wow. They'll email me like, you know, a paragraph. I'm just like, you know, and just kind of just giving out thanks or just like how much they can relate to the page and how much they were looking for a specific market like this. And the customer service, and you're just like, oh, I'm actually established.
So was that something you had in mind? Like, did you come into this like, yo, I'm about to empower women, whether it was Muslim women or, you know, any women that want to rock hijabs? Was that kind of one of the things you wanted to do, or did it just happen?
No, I definitely wanted to do that. We definitely wanted to do that because it was like a transition, you know, like I said, I didn't wear a headscarf at first. So as I was transitioning, it was just like I'd also get emails and messages from people saying that, hey, like, how do you wear this? Like, I want to start wearing a hijab or, you know, things like that. So that was really cool. So.
Yeah.
You know. Sorry. So there's one thing I want to also touch on, because I think if we're all paying attention to the current state of the world we're living in, there is a lot of Islamophobia, right? And I feel like what this brand is doing essentially is empowering women of color who want to feel comfortable in their traditional clothing. And so is that something that you may want to kind of use to kind of shed light on the issues in terms of kind of, you know, what your brand is doing out there using those stories? Is that something that kind of came to mind? Because I feel like that'd be something that really would cut through in today's society.
Yeah, I mean, I think it evolved to that. In the beginning, it was just really simple, like scarves, you know, having women of color become our models because that's what we wanted to represent. And then it just kind of evolved to that. It kind of evolved to a lot of people just reaching out and just saying, you know, being able to just represent everything. Yeah. That was cool.
Doing fashion shows. I think that's something that would be dope. I'd like to see that.
One day. I definitely could see that.
I'm over casting visions and stuff, you know, but no, that's dope. That's dope. Now, I also want to talk about something that I feel like is important when you're building your dream is there's people that you meet along the way. There's people that help you along the way. Were there any mentors that you can point to? People, whether it was from a distance, whether it was up close, Maybe they didn't even know you. Maybe they didn't even know you, but you're like, man, this is probably a mentor of mine. You know, indirectly.
I took entrepreneur classes at Treehouse, which is it's like a nonprofit organization, and they just kind of give you. It was really cool because I got to like understand the steps, you know, on a lot of different skills, like making sure you know what your, you know, exact mission statement is, making sure you're able to like articulate your brand. And I think that's a really important thing when you're, you know, establishing yourself, is being able to articulate your idea to people around you. And they also just kind of helped me just understand like the whole financial aspect of, you know, knowing your brand. So that was a cool experience at Treehouse.
Okay. I mean, and the reason I asked that is because I just feel like we kind of talked about this, I think it was a couple episodes back, where like you have to reflect on all those encounters that you've had, you know, up until this point. Because then if you don't, it's kind of, you'll get lost in the sauce, I feel like, at a certain point.
You know, the funny thing about this market is like you'll get a lot of elders that just want to take over and just like do it like this, make it this price. Like,
how do you deal with that?
I just be like, you should run your own.
It's 2018. It's a new era.
I'm just like, I could teach you how to, you know, start something up, and you can go run with it. But a lot of people do, you know, try to give me their input. I do take it in. I don't know if it's like me just. I'm kind of hard-headed and just like go with whatever.
As you should be, though. I feel like I don't know. I feel like all engagement, criticism is good, whether good or bad. I don't care. Like
I mean, I do take advice and criticism, but I kind of just look at like, okay, does this person have, like, not to be rude, like, is it like, what do they have established that like I could like actually take in, you know, what experiences do I share that they have that will like, you know, be an impact on my business. And for the most part, I just haven't run into some, you know, but I would love to if I would have someone reach out to me that like has an established like e-commerce business and it's just like booming, and I'm just like, what, you know, can you tell me what I'm doing right? Can you tell me what I'm doing wrong?
Exactly.
I haven't reached out to anyone that does have any e-commerce businesses, but it would be nice like if someone just reached out to me and kind of just tell me like how to just keep going. So
has there ever, because I also want to ask entrepreneurs this too, because I believe in that you never know who's watching what you're doing, right? Did you ever have a moment when someone may have, you know, acknowledged you or reached out to you that you were like, how the hell did this person even know I was doing this? Like, because I feel like that's another thing that really lets you know you're doing something out here.
Okay, I had a customer from Kuwait that just like bought like a whole, like a big box full of stuff, and I just was like,
shout out Kuwait.
Yeah, I just was like, Kuwait, like, you know, and that's a Muslim country, and they also have a lot of hijabs there. So I'm just like, I'm just a small town Seattle girl. And, you know, I'm pretty sure that you guys have a lot of hijabs available there. What drove you to my brand? Like, what, you know? And, you know, we were just going back and forth, and they just kind of just liked the concept of the brand. So that was like why they were a customer, and just that was like, whoa. Everything I'm doing, and also like I've gotten people from like Turkey and like Amsterdam and just different parts of the world, which kind of just gives me that extra push that I need sometimes. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, I'm doing something right.
That global effect.
Yeah,
that's real.
That's what it is. The global effect. Perfect word.
Yeah, that's dope though.
Now, well, I know we were talking about this earlier, but. As far as, because there's people who watch these shows, and they may be interested in going into the industry you're in, right? What's some good advice you can give some people? Like, I mean, I feel like everybody wants to do clothing and fashion. It looks fun. It looks fun on the surface, right? It looks fun to, you know, I know growing up I was like, oh shit, Diddy got Sean John. Oh, that'd be dope to have my own clothing line, you know. But what are some things you can share with people that they should know out the gate, like, you know, X, Y, and Z need to be addressed? If there are those things. I
think one of the big things is kind of just write it down and apply it. That's like the first step in anything you do, you know, like once you just kind of like, you know, put it on paper, the more realistic it could be for you. So that's what I like. That's my biggest advice. And always do research. Everything, like, you know, we're living in a time where we get like just the internet's free,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so
Yeah.
like information is free,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, and that's like take advantage of it,
Yeah.
because like the person next to you that like you knew your whole life, like you know, like it just everybody has the same opportunity. Everybody has the same 24. Well, not everybody, but you know, for the most part.
I'm convinced some people got more than 24 hours.
Yeah.
Someone said Beyonce got like 48. I don't know.
But yeah, no. But before we move on, I kind of like want to explain what Raziaa is, because
Yes,
a lot of people.
please.
So
Yes, please do.
Raziaa, like a lot of like, what is Raziaa? Like, why did you choose that? You know, so we chose Raziaa because my aunt, she passed away in 2016, unfortunately. So she was really big on fashion. She always kept up to date with her hijabs, like you know. And back when I used to travel, I would go visit her. She lived in Mombasa, and every time I'd go, I'd just spend like my whole summers with her. And you know, she was just a couple years older than me, and then just her death just kind of like took a, it just like it was like a really shocking event for me. So I just like, you know, what I got from it is like, you know, some people, you pass away and like sometimes unfortunately you don't leave anything behind, and she was such a, you know, she played a very significant role in my life that I just was like, there has to be a way to continue
Yeah.
her name. And now like, hey, it's in every, like, not everyone, but like it's just like people can recognize and associate it with a brand. So I think that's kind of like one of the things that just really makes me happy about this brand.
Yeah, and that's powerful too. You know,
Yeah, for
because you know people live on, you know, and it's how the people that they've impacted carry their name on. You know what I mean? And so I think that's amazing in itself. You know, and it kind of goes back to what I was saying. Like, it's not just a come up. It's not just a brand. You know, it's not just a company, and it's not just a piece of clothing. You know, so thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no,
For real, that's dope.
Definitely.
That's dope. Now, nobody does things on their own, right? You
No.
know, nobody does things on their own.
Definitely.
But I'm sure you got a strong team with you. How did that come about, assembling your team? Because that's important too, right? Having a team.
Yeah. Like I said, Upsi2, she's a creative director, and she just like was the person on the balcony with me that just came up with everything. And me, I'm like more the person that just like I can actually just go ahead and do it, but then I don't have that creative eye sometimes. And you know, like, she's really young and vibrant and like keeps up with social media and knows what's really going on, and I'm just like, I need you.
Yeah, well, you brought her with you.
Yeah, I had
so,
to, like, you know, so
if you wanna come up and we can definitely,
let me
you know,
introduce you to Upsi2.
Yeah, you were talking about her as if she wasn't in the room. I was like, she's right there. We might as well just bring her up.
Yeah, no, yeah, Upsi2 played a major role in Raziaa, just helping bring out, you know, she just like bring the model, helping just styling them.
Yeah, that's another thing I also want to talk
really
about.
Unique, so.
I want to talk about that too, like the creative process. Yeah, you can go ahead.
Yeah, let me introduce her. Here's Upsi2.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for coming as well.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having us.
Now, the creative side, right? There's a business side and there's a creative side, and so having that, you know, creative director role, what was kind of your vision out the gate in terms of how to get people to fall in love with this brand and get them to even pay attention? What were some things that you had to do?
Yeah, so I think for me, the what was really important for me was the fact that in the like Muslim fashion community on Instagram, on social media, there's such a lack of representation for Black Muslim women, and there's so many Black Muslim women in the world. So my thing was, okay, we have all this Muslim women who are, you know, they're beautiful, they're African American, they're from Africa, like they have a sense of style, they're really vibrant, but they these brands. And so my thing was, I wanted to create a space, or not a space, but like a platform where they can click on the page and be like, oh, that color is so beautiful. She has my complexion. Let me purchase it. I like it.
That representation matters. It's crazy when you remember me and this guys literally spent like 30 minutes on Google typing in certain words and then seeing what images would pop up. And it was crazy. It blew my mind when I typed in the word basketball and I could barely find a Black face.
Which is crazy because
for the word basketball. So that just lets you know there's a higher power working, you know, those machines. And I enjoyed seeing the photo shoots and things like that. How was it bringing in, you know, young, beautiful African women to, you know, model for you guys as well?
Yeah. So the models are my friends. You know what I mean? So I just kind of looked for the beauty around me, and I was like, my friends are beautiful. You know, they're all just as, you know, fashion forward, even more than I am. So I'm like, let me just utilize them. You know what I mean? I'm
rolling with baddies. Just put them in the camera.
No, I mean, really, that's really what it was.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. But it's there's more strategy behind it too.
Right.
You know? It ain't just like a photo shoot.
Well,
obviously.
yeah.
But
I just wanted to bring in people. You know, complexion was a really big thing for me. Colorism is a real issue that we're dealing with, and we want to address it, but it's real. And I wanted to, you know, showcase African women, people of African descent. I wanted to showcase different sizes of women as well, because the Muslim fashion industry doesn't attack that either. They don't represent plus size Muslim women. So I wanted to make sure the people that I was taking photos of for the brand were, you know, Black, plus size, Muslim, you know, fashion forward. They just, because it's more than just a brand, it's almost kind of like a lifestyle too, right? So I want people to really, really connect with it.
That's dope. I'm glad you said that, because we like need more of that. Like how he just brought up the basketball thing. Right. It's kind of like, it's refreshing when you see something that's like out there, but it's like you don't see it online or something like that. So like, and that's important.
And people don't really like, they hear about it all the time. They hear people talk about it all the time, but like if you really pay attention, like that representation really does affect you. You know, like I was watching an interview with Michael B. Jordan talking about Black Panther, and they're talking about how it affected him. And he was like, if I was 10 years old when this movie came out, you know, I know for a fact it would have a significant impact on me, you know, just growing up and knowing the type of movies, superhero movies that were coming out back then. So
definitely.
So I also want you to talk about, for Raziaa, as far as like kind of expanding, what are some things you guys may have in store? And you guys can kind of share the mic if you'd like, but what's kind of on the horizon for you guys that we can look forward to?
Right now, we kind of just want to eventually branch out into apparel. That's kind of where we're gonna go towards in the next, hopefully, year or less. You know, just depending on schedule. Men's apparel.
What's up?
Get you a camise, huh?
I'm ready, man. I'm ready, whatever.
So definitely we're gonna get into and just having more variety. That's like the biggest thing. Like, just once we bring out a collection, people are like, hey, you don't have this color, we get that all the time. And it's just like you just have to kind of just study your own market, like, you know, and just doing polls and doing like things, you know, interacting with your, you know, customers. So it's kind of just based on clients right now. So we definitely do want to get into apparel in the near future. Okay.
Well, you know, I think expanding is definitely on the horizon. Like I just see it already, you know, and it's very like everything you guys are doing, everything the brand is doing is prevalent with what's going on in today's society. And that's important. Like when your brand, your product, whatever it is you're trying to sell, aligns with like what's going on in real life, you know what I mean? I feel like you can't lose, because there's people that need it, you know?
Yeah. That's one of the biggest things. I see you guys like solving a problem as well, you know? It's not just like selling products. It's like you guys are solving a problem literally, you know? So that's dope.
Shout out. Yeah. Shout out to y'all. Now, I always ask this question, and I think this is my favorite question to ask every guest. I guess you guys both can answer it separately, because I'm sure you guys will have your own answers for it. But if you can, what's one word to describe what keeps you on the up and up?
You go first. I need to hear your question. Go ahead. Speak in the mic.
Just one word?
Yeah, just one word.
I mean, you could explain it.
Yeah, okay. We'll let you elaborate, but it's just
I think I want to say like change, because like I feel like we live in a time where it's like people are complacent, but people have something to say about it. So I feel like that would be the best word to describe, just because like I want to see things different. I know I'm not the only one.
Oh yeah. And
so I feel like Raziaa is just a little tiny piece in the bigger, you know, solution to the change that we need to see.
I like that. Change.
Dope.
Change gonna come. Don't be the first one to get stuck.
I think it's change too.
That's why she's the creative director. She got you.
Yeah, Yeah, I'm stuck. I'll pass on that question.
Okay. It's all good. But nah, man, I always ask that question because, it sums up kind of everything we talked about today, but also what's on the horizon. And so change is definitely on the horizon. And so, yeah, I definitely want to, wish you guys much success. And, you guys have our full support for sure. Is there anything else you wanted to?
You guys have my support too.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
We
go back.
For sure. Oh yeah. When I said she's a friend to the show, I wasn't lying. It's the homie. But yeah, man. With that said, we thank you guys for being guests. We're looking forward to everything you guys got coming in the future with Raziaa, and we'll stay tapped in. We'll stay on the up and up with everything y'all are doing. And with that said, I guess you guys are officially members of the Up and Up. Can we get a round of applause one time? Yeah.